Hey guys, Tarkat here, and today I'm going to make a really not very fun video, but it's a video that I need to make, and I've tried to structure it in a way that this will also be relevant for not just understanding where I'm coming from, but anyone who wants to get into streaming or any other streamers. Basically, I'm going to talk about the things that I'm currently really struggling with, but hopefully in a way that, as I said, this relates to other people, and this might maybe be helpful to someone, or at the very least you'll know where I'm coming from. So, I've been struggling quite a lot with both mental and physical health recently, and it always boils down to these three things. It's a very cyclical thing. I've made very similar videos on my channel before. This is something that I always struggle with, and yeah. So why am I making this video now? I've been struggling a lot with my health. I've been to my GP, that's a doctor, what we call it in the UK. My doctor thinks I'm depressed. I'm fine. I'm dealing with it. I'll be alright, just working shit out. I've had a bunch of family stuff going on recently. I've been having non-stop tension headaches for about 5 weeks now, basically stress-induced headaches. And yeah, it's fun. So, I've prepared a bunch of notes that you can see here, and I'll take them off the stream and we can stare at my amazingly made infographic. So why have I got this kind of like three-way pointers of stream, IRL, Crohn's? These are the three things that I struggle with. So streaming, content creation, YouTube channel, IRL, actual real stuff, and Crohn's. If you don't know, Crohn's, boring autoimmune disease. I'm 26. I was diagnosed with it when I was like 18, 19. I'm working it out. There's no cure. It's just a thing. You have it. You put up with it. If you want to Google it, that's how it's spelled. It's really fucking boring. So, I'll start off with the stream and YouTube stuff because that's the stuff that is relevant to most people, and this video is going to be very negative. Again, I'm fine. I'm literally just going through the things that I mostly struggle with. There are positives to all of these, but the main things that I've been struggling with when it comes to the whole streaming thing. And they all bleed into each other, which is why this is relevant. So, streaming, you have unsocial hours. It's just the reality of streaming. I tend to stream for about 6 to 12 hours on average. Towards the start of the league, it's pushing more like 12 hours plus. Towards this point of the league, it's more like the 6 to 8 hour mark. 6 to 8 hour mark, that's really the sweet spot. It's the bit where you're not like completely killing yourself. You can still do stuff outside of the stream. You can still manage things. But that like first rush of a few weeks leading up to a league, the first few weeks of a league, we were doing like 12 to 16 hour streams. Everything which isn't streaming completely just dissolves around you and just everything just kind of crumbles. So a lot of people get into this situation where it's kind of like 3 weeks into the league, you're like, okay, shit, I now need to deal with all the things I've been neglecting leading up to this point. One of my niches as a content creator is I have decent relationships with GGG, which basically boils down to I talk to some of the devs like they're actual people, and I meme a lot with Bex. Because of that, we have a lot of random like dev interviews and stuff on my podcast, and it's really fun, and I'm incredibly grateful for the situation I'm in. The way that I maintain that is I literally just shit talk with Bex a lot, and that involves flipping my sleep schedule a lot of the time. So obviously New Zealand is not next to the UK. There's 11-hour time zone difference between the two. So I'm often staying up when we're like talking a lot. I'll be staying up till like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, or I'm waking up at like 4, 5 in the morning to talk in the morning. It would be a lot easier if time zones didn't exist. My life in general would be a lot easier if time zones didn't exist. But yeah, I often end up in very unhealthy sleep schedules because of just streaming hours in general, but then also streaming hours and trying to balance like New Zealand hours on top of that. Also, whenever anything is announced by GGG, obviously they announce it on New Zealand time, so there's lots of like staying up till like 2, 3 in the morning in case there's an announcement. This is most stuff which happens towards the league start. Bay cast management. Less of an issue now that our cast is mostly European. Obviously, Octavian is still in the States. But when we first started out and we had Ziggy in Australia, we had Cute Dog in the States, and then we had Rise and Yoji in EU. That was when this like whole time zone thing was particularly difficult. Most streamers stream because, well, we enjoy it. We're slightly narcissistic and we're not very good at real life, but we're okay at this. Because of that, most streamers are fairly useless at like staying on top of doing other streamery stuff. I love Baycast. I'm never going to stop doing Baycast. I really enjoy it. Managing it is a fucking pain though. Organizing, micromanaging other people's schedule isn't fun, especially when you're struggling with your own bullshit. Your hobby becomes work. Anyone who streams or does YouTube or would like to will soon realize this or has realized this. If the main thing you do to unwind after a long day of school, a long day of work is play PoE for a couple of hours, what do you do after you finish streaming? Well, you want to wind down from the stream. I really enjoy streaming PoE. I actively enjoy playing PoE on stream, but streaming, you have to be entertaining. You have to be at a certain level, so I often get like wired basically, where it takes me like a couple of hours after a stream to then like chill the fuck back down. So you often feel like, oh, I'll just play PoE for a couple of hours off stream. The problem you have with that though is you end up feeling kind of guilty because you're still in game and you're like, I should really be streaming this as this is wasted content. The whole idea of wasted content where you feel like everything you do, like, oh, I need to take a picture of this because I could use this picture as a tweet. And that can be this whole really weird toxic thing where you're just like always like being overly glued into social and everything because everything is content and you have to turn every single aspect of your life into content creation. But yeah, you also have the issue where if like a game comes out you really want to play it and you feel like you can't play it because you'll like kill your channel. People always ask, Tarky, do you want to play Classic WoW? I'd like to play Classic WoW. I can never realistically justify playing Classic WoW. I recently picked up RimWorld. I did 2 RimWorld streams recently. Really enjoyed it. Some of my viewers really enjoyed it. But my channel isn't doing very well at the moment because of the time of the month that it is, since we're getting into month 1, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So if I'm getting like 200-300 viewers streaming PoE and I'm getting like 50 viewers streaming RimWorld, well, it'd be stupid to stream RimWorld. And also, whenever you're streaming RimWorld, people are like, oh, Tarky, you've quit PoE. It's like, no, I'm just having a break for a few days. But you constantly get that, oh, so you're quitting. Is the game dead? Is the league dead? Is Legion dead? Is your private league dead? It's like, no, it's fine. I just wanted to have a break for a little bit. But you get on that, like, when you're on an anxious streak anyway, and you get that, like, anxiety, like, added through Twitch chat, that can be, like, a bit intense. And that leads directly into the next point, which is the whole, like, getting triggered. Every single streamer, I've done it probably too many times, at some point has had like a meltdown, be it at his Twitch chat or YouTube comments or on Twitter or something. It's just inevitable because people have random breakdowns. You could have someone who you live with someone and their thing is that when they're making tea or coffee, they get like they dip the teaspoon in the coffee and they dip it in the sugar, and then the sugar's got like coffee marks on it. I use that as an example because that's something that freaks my grandmother out. And I vividly remember her like completely losing her shit and like screaming. And I was a kid and she was like freaking out because her partner had made coffee the wrong way. That's a very small, very tiny little detail, but hopefully you can kind of relate to that. Something which often happens is like if you're struggling generally, then you're way more likely to get triggered or baited by things in chat. I'm very bad at getting baited. Someone says something which is obviously just there to piss you off, or even if it's just like a joke. You make a passing joke about it, someone tunes in halfway through, you then have to re-explain it, and then what was just a passing comment about a slightly controversial topic or whatever ends up into like a really intense 1-hour debate, and at the end of it you're just exhausted and you're like, dude, I just don't even want to stream anymore. Anyone who watched my stream recently, I had this whole thing about a comedy special I watched on Netflix. I made a passing comment about the way that it was filmed, and it led to a really intense, like, 2-hour conversation. And at the end of it, I was just like, dude, I cannot be fucked anymore. I need to stop streaming right now. Numbers equal self-worth, and that's what I was talking about earlier is. So at the top, you can see I have my sub count of 244. About 2 to 3 weeks ago, that was 450. My busiest periods are the weeks leading up to a league. Every single streamer will have this massive like rise first month of the league, and then it'll start to dip down. Obviously, you get the most viewers on the PoE section at league start. There's the most to talk about at league start. Amazon Prime, 1 free sub each and every month. You get all these subs, you get all these views. Your channel's doing amazing. You're feeling great because like, oh, but then people stop losing interest in PoE in the league, and your numbers start to trickle down a bit. It's just inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it, but you often feel like you're the problem. Like, what have I done wrong, which has caused this? So then if something happens with either the Crohn's or the IRL, which means I have to spend less time on streaming or YouTube, then that dip happens faster and more extreme. and then you're always aware of it. I know a lot of streamers who purposely hide all of their numbers from themselves. Realistically, though, it's not that sustainable, because it's like, if you have sub notifications on, you get way more subs if that shit's on screen. I would prefer having 0 sub notifications, 0 donation notifications. But if someone sees someone sub, they go, oh, that was cool, I could sub. Or if I make an Amazon Prime joke, someone will sub. So you always have to be mentioning it. This is the weird toxic bullshit. Anyone who likes Asmongold, he has his like second channel, his Zach channel. He made a very good video talk about that whole thing. Would recommend that you check it out. But he talks about that whole weird mindset of basically the better your numbers are, the better you are as a person. And if someone has better numbers than you, then they are a better person than you. Obviously, that's not true, but that's just how your brain works. So it's like, if the streamer's doing badly, you as a person are failing. And that's something that I know a lot of streamers really do struggle with, and it's this really toxic bullshit that is just kind of there. XLCon. I'm really looking forward to XLCon. I'm incredibly excited about XLCon. To be completely transparent, GGG is flying me to New Zealand, and they're also paying for my accommodation for the days of the event. I'm going to be in New Zealand from the 6th to the 20th. I still need to work out accommodation for like everything